Second Chance Love by Everett Cole. The autumn breeze carried the scent of coffee and freshly baked pastries as Emma Sinclair hurried down the bustling streets of her hometown, Willow Creek. At 35, she was a successful journalist, having recently moved back after years in the big city. Her heels clicked against the sidewalk as she made her way to the newly opened Bookstore cafe, Chapter and Verse, for its grand opening. As she rounded the corner, Emma's steps faltered. There, standing in front of the quaint storefront, was a face she hadn't seen in 15 years but would recognize anywhere. Alex Foster, her high school sweetheart, was hanging a grand opening banner above the door. Emma's heart raced as memories flooded back, stolen kisses behind the bleachers, study dates that turned into stargazing sessions, and the bittersweet parting when they left for different colleges, promising to stay in touch but eventually drifting apart. Taking a deep breath, Emma approached. "Need a hand with that?" she called out, surprising herself with the steadiness in her voice. Alex turned, nearly losing his balance on the stepladder. His eyes widened in recognition. Emma Sinclair, is that you?" She nodded, a smile tugging at her lips. "In the flesh. It's been a while, Alex." He climbed down, brushing his hands on his jeans before extending one to her. 15 years, give or take. "Wow, you look," he paused, taking her in, amazing. Emma felt a blush creep up her cheeks. "You're not so bad yourself," she replied, noting how the years had been kind to Alex. His boyish charm had matured into a rugged handsomeness, with laugh lines at the corners of his warm brown eyes. "So, Chapter and Verse, huh?" Emma gestured to the store. "I'm guessing this is your doing." Alex nodded, pride evident in his smile. "Yeah, it's been a dream of mine for years. Finally took the plunge and opened my own place." "What brings you back to Willow Creek?" "Last I heard, you were conquering the journalism world in New York." "I was," Emma admitted, "but after my dad's health scare last year, I realized I wanted to be closer to family. I'm working remotely now, with some local assignments thrown in." They stood there for a moment, drinking each other in, the years melting away in the autumn sunlight. Finally, Alex cleared his throat. "Listen, I'm about to open up for the day, but maybe we could catch up properly sometime. Coffee, for old time's sake?" Emma found herself nodding before she could overthink it. "I'd like that. How about tomorrow afternoon?" "Perfect," Alex grinned. "Say 3 p.m. I know a great little cafe that isn't my own." As Emma walked away, her heart felt lighter than it had in years. She couldn't help but wonder if this encounter was mere coincidence or something more. The next afternoon, Emma found herself sitting across from Alex at a cozy table in Rosie's Cafe, a local institution they'd frequented as teenagers. As they sipped their coffees, Emma's order hadn't changed, she noted with amusement. They fell into easy conversation, catching up on the years they'd missed. Alex told her about his journey from corporate lawyer to bookstore owner, the divorce that had prompted him to reassess his life choices, and his decision to return to Willow Creek to pursue his passion. Emma shared stories of her reporting adventures, the challenges of big city life, and the mix of nostalgia and apprehension that came with moving back home. As they talked, Emma found herself rediscovering all the things she'd loved about Alex in high school, his quick wit, his genuine interest in others, and the way his entire face lit up when he laughed. She also noticed new qualities that intrigued her. A quiet confidence, a depth of experience that showed in his thoughtful responses, and a kindness that seemed to touch everyone around him. Before they knew it, hours had passed. "I can't believe it's almost closing time," Emma said, glancing at her watch. "This has been wonderful," Alex finished for her. He hesitated for a moment, then added, "Listen, I know this might be too soon, but would you like to have dinner with me sometime? There's this great new Italian place that opened up on Main Street." Emma felt a flutter of excitement in her chest. "I'd love to," she replied, surprised by how much she meant it. Over the next few weeks, Emma and Alex fell into a comfortable rhythm of coffee dates, shared lunches, and evening strolls through the park. They rediscovered their old haunts and explored new ones, marveling at how much Willow Creek had changed yet remained the same. One crisp Saturday morning, Alex invited Emma to help out at a children's reading event at Chapter and Verse. As she watched him captivate a group of wide-eyed kids with his animated storytelling, Emma felt something shift inside her. This wasn't just nostalgia or the comfort of an old flame, she was falling for the man Alex had become. After the last child had left, clutching a new book and wearing a broad smile, Emma helped Alex tidy up the store. As they reshelved books side by side, their hands brushed, sending a jolt of electricity through Emma. "Thank you for today," Alex said softly, his eyes meeting hers. "Having you here just felt right." Emma's breath caught in her throat. "It did, didn't it?" she murmured. Slowly, giving her every chance to pull away, Alex leaned in. Their lips met in a kiss that was both familiar and thrillingly new. It was soft and sweet, filled with the promise of a future neither had dared to imagine just weeks ago. When they parted, both were slightly breathless. "Wow," Alex chuckled. "That was even better than I remembered," Emma finished, her eyes twinkling. As their relationship deepened, Emma and Alex found themselves navigating the delicate balance of rekindled romance. They had the advantage of a shared history, but they were also acutely aware of how much they had changed over the years. They took things slowly, savoring the process of getting to know each other again. Emma learned that Alex had developed a passion for photography during his travels, and she delighted in accompanying him on weekend excursions to capture the beauty of the surrounding countryside. In turn, Alex discovered Emma's newfound love for cooking and became her willing taste tester as she experimented with recipes from her global adventures. Their past experiences, both together and apart, added depth to their connection. They could reminisce about high school antics one moment and discuss world events the next, their conversations flowing seamlessly between the personal and the profound. Of course, it wasn't all smooth sailing. Old insecurities occasionally resurfaced, and they had to learn to communicate in new ways. Emma worried that her career ambitions might once again drive a wedge between them, while Alex grappled with the fear of opening his heart fully after his failed marriage. But this time, they were older and wiser. Instead of letting these fears fester, they talked through them openly, supporting each other's dreams and addressing concerns head-on. As autumn gave way to winter, Emma and Alex's relationship continued to blossom. They became a familiar sight around town, holding hands as they strolled through the farmer's market, laughing over hot cocoa at chapter and verse, or cheering together at the local high school's football games. One snowy evening, as they cuddled on Alex's couch watching old movies, Emma found herself marveling at the journey that had brought them back together. "What are you thinking about?" Alex asked, noticing her pensive expression. Emma smiled, snuggling closer. "Just how grateful I am that we got this second chance. You know, when I moved back, I was worried I'd feel stuck or that I was moving backward. But being with you, it feels like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." Alex pressed a kiss to her forehead. "I know what you mean. Opening the bookstore was a huge risk, and there were days I wondered if I'd made a mistake. But then you walked back into my life, and suddenly everything made sense." As they gazed at each other, the movie forgotten in the background, Emma felt a surge of love so strong it almost took her breath away. This wasn't the giddy infatuation of their teenage years, but something deeper, richer, a love tempered by time and experience, yet no less passionate. "I love you, Alex," she whispered, the words feeling both monumental and as natural as breathing. Alex's face broke into a radiant smile. "I love you too, Emma. More than I ever thought possible." As winter melted into spring, Emma and Alex's relationship continued to grow and evolve. They faced challenges together, the stress of Emma's demanding deadlines, the ups and downs of running a small business, but they also celebrated each other's successes and found joy in the simple moments they shared. One year after their chance reunion, Alex surprised Emma with a picnic in the very park where they'd shared their first kiss as teenagers. As they sat on a checkered blanket, enjoying strawberries and champagne, Alex took Emma's hand. "This past year has been the happiest of my life," he began, his voice filled with emotion. "You've brought so much love, laughter, and light into my world. I can't imagine my life without you in it." Slowly, he pulled a small velvet box from his pocket and opened it to reveal a beautiful vintage ring. "Emma Sinclair, will you marry me?" Tears of joy sprang to Emma's eyes as she nodded enthusiastically. "Yes. 1,000 times yes." As Alex slipped the ring onto her finger, Emma marveled at the journey that had brought them to this moment. They had found their way back to each other, not as the teenagers they once were, but as adults who had grown, learned, and were now choosing to build a life together. In the months that followed, Emma and Alex threw themselves into wedding planning, merging their lives with the same enthusiasm they'd approached their rekindled romance. They decided on a small, intimate ceremony in the garden of Emma's childhood home, surrounded by close family and friends. On a perfect June afternoon, Emma walked down the aisle towards Alex, her heart brimming with love and gratitude. As they exchanged vows, promising to love, support, and cherish each other, both felt the weight of their shared history and the excitement of their future together. "I never stopped loving you," Alex admitted during his vows, his voice thick with emotion. "Even when we were apart, a part of my heart always belonged to you. I'm so thankful that life gave us this second chance." Emma, her eyes shining with unshed tears, replied, "You were my first love, and now you'll be my last. I promise to cherish every moment of this beautiful life we're building together." As they sealed their vows with a kiss, cheers erupted from their gathered loved ones. Emma and Alex turned to face their guests, hand in hand, ready to embark on this new chapter of their lives. In the years that followed, Emma and Alex's love continued to deepen and grow. They faced life's challenges together, career changes, family losses, the joys and trials of parenthood, always finding strength in their bond. Chapter and Verse became a beloved fixture in Willow Creek, hosting author events, book clubs, and community gatherings. Emma's journalism career flourished, as she found a balance between local stories and national assignments, with Alex always her biggest supporter. They never forgot the twist of fate that had brought them back together, and they made a point to nurture their relationship amidst the bustle of daily life. Date nights, surprise weekend getaways, and quiet evenings spent reading side by side kept the spark of romance alive. On their 10th wedding anniversary, as they slow danced in their backyard under a canopy of twinkling lights, Emma rested her head on Alex's shoulder. "You know," she murmured, "if someone had told me 25 years ago that I'd end up married to my high school sweetheart, I probably wouldn't have believed them." Alex chuckled, pulling her closer. "Life has a funny way of surprising us, doesn't it? But I wouldn't change a thing." Emma lifted her head to meet his gaze, seeing in his eyes the same love and devotion she'd fallen for all those years ago. "Neither would I," she replied softly. "Every step, every detour, led us right where we were meant to be, together." As they continued to sway to the music, surrounded by the life they'd built together, Emma and Alex were filled with gratitude for their past, joy in their present, and excitement for all the adventures still to come. Their story was proof that sometimes, love deserves a second chance, and that when it's meant to be, even time and distance can't keep two hearts apart.